Boris Johnson fully behind the Prime Minister. Is this game theory? The more he says it, the more she has to kind of do what he's promised.
That's right, because in there's the veiled warning, isn't there, really, of what she is expected to do from his point of view and the point of view of the more Brexit-leaning people in the party. Boris Johnson obviously has a lot of sway with the Brexit supporters as a figurehead who was one of the most important people in the referendum campaign 2 years ago. So he's saying the Prime Minister needs time and space to get this right. Of course, throughout all of this, we're getting the principles that the Prime Minister wants to take control of laws, borders, but we still don't have the actual plan of how that can be delivered. The thing that changed last week is that they came up with a compromise within Cabinet on this question of the backstop to prevent a hard border in Ireland. This is this proposal to keep the whole of the UK in or closely aligned with the customs union beyond the end of the transition agreement. Now, the Cabinet might have agreed that last week, but the biggest problem Mrs May's got is getting that passed by Parliament. And this, I think, Boris Johnson's comments are acknowledgement of that the biggest fight is yet to come to actually get the enough MPs to support that as government policy.
Michael, what's priced in the markets? Is it a softer Brexit, since she has it from all sides, or is it a harsh Brexit and then we'll reevaluate?
So currently consider a soft Brexit to be priced. There's very little risk premium priced into most of the UK asset classes, particularly sterling. Okay,
if you look at euro sterling, is that why it's kind of been trading sideways?
I think at this point the market is somewhere in the middle, we can say. So if we do get an agreement that is close to customs union, will be good news for the market. If we don't, will be negative. This is not what has been driving FX at this point. Positioning in sterling is actually slightly long, but positioning in over UK assets is still short. So if we get any kind of compromise, there is room for UK assets and sterling to appreciate.
David, snap election. I mean, that could spell a disaster for the Tories, right?
Yes, there were reports over the weekend that some MPs on the Conservative side are preparing for an election maybe as soon as the autumn. It's a bit of a nuclear option, really, for the government. If it really cannot get this legislation through, what does Theresa May do? Does she try to go to the country for a bigger mandate? But of course, with the party so divided, on what platform would the Conservatives fight an election regarding, the actual policy for Brexit? So, and also we have the Fixed Term Parliaments Act in Britain, so a majority of MPs are going to have to vote for this to happen. Now, the latest polls show the Tories about 4 points ahead of Labour. When she called that snap election last year, she was 20 points ahead. So it's even more of a toss-up this time. Is she willing to take the gamble? And are enough MPs willing to risk their jobs by calling another election over this issue? That remains to be seen.